Hi there. I'm over here in DC now instead of in Bend, Oregon. I'm staying with Ray and Steph and their adorable little son, my grandson, Theo. So I'm so glad to be here with you. I want to talk a little bit about the issue of what happens in so many relationships when we've had some kind of sexual assault or some kind of sexual trauma in our lives. A lot of times what happens with people, with men, women, non-binary people, so when something like this happens, it ends up staying in our system in a way that keeps us from being able to be present later. And interestingly, one of the things that people often tell me is that while they're in the time of their life when the challenge is sexual assault, even rape, even other kinds of traumatic experiences happen, during that time, sometimes it feels more okay. In other words, it's being kind of held at a place in our bodies and ourselves where we're able to continue going through life. There's a numbing, but there's also somehow going through the motions, even in the sexual realm of our lives. And then later, when we become safe in a relationship, it can become more challenging. And that's when you might find this in your partnership, that now that you're safe, that now that you are held and tucked in with someone who really cares about you, now it's harder or even impossible for you to be sexual with that person. It's almost like your body feels like it's already kind of done that, and that now you can claim safety when in the past you were not able to. And it can be part of this kind of growth experience, but it looks in your life like a regression because now you're not comfortable at all having sex with a partner. So how I hear about this is someone will tell me that during their earlier life, maybe college, another time, they had some kind of very traumatic or even somewhat traumatic experience or series of experiences, and they felt like they were not really in control or empowered in their sexuality. And because of that, they might have done things that they didn't want to do even after that. They could have had a lot of experiences of kind of feeling like they were overly sexual, even though it didn't feel good at a core level to them. And because of that, then their partnerships at that time look very sexual. They might have felt pleasurable, physically pleasurable. There could have been orgasm and climax and so forth, but it wasn't integrated to who we really are, who we really were at the time. There wasn't an integration of all of that. And then when this person gets into a relationship, it becomes like there's a permission given to stop doing something that never felt exactly right. It might have been, again, physically pleasurable, but it wasn't really who they were. They weren't authentically expressed. They weren't really connected all the way through from the bottom to the top of them energetically and in all the other ways. So if this is your partner, and it's true for so many of us, if this is something your partner has experienced, there's 4 things I want you to think about. And the first one is to not make it about you. I know that it feels like it's you because it's in your marriage or your relationship now, and your partner is not wanting to be sexual with you because of this situation, or maybe they just don't want to be sexual and you feel like you don't know why that is. You might say something to me like, oh, she's got a lot of hangups, or they have a lot of hangups. But really what it is somebody has treated them poorly in the past. Something has happened in the past where they didn't feel like they could fully be themselves. And so you may have kind of an instinct to protect them or to kind of get big and talk about how, whoever did this to you, I'm going to make that person, pay if I ever see that person again. I will protect your honor, kind of. Oftentimes that doesn't really work for us because it feels like you're centering yourself. It's becoming about you and your ego in a way, even though you may not mean it that way. So we then have to close down and we can't tell you everything that happened. What's more helpful to us is if you just let us talk to you about what happened with compassion. And if we ask you to, go get that person, and or have some kind of interaction with the other person, then that's a different conversation. But generally speaking, we'd like you to listen to us about our experience and allow us to go through it in the way that it feels right for us, not just, the way that it feels right for you. So it's all about, again, listening to us and hearing what we need. And then it turns out that we need you to, stick up for us in some way or protect us, then we can tell you that. So that is the first thing that I recommend. The second thing is to realize the impact that this has on us. So there is a continued impact. And although, you probably hate that, you probably wish that something in our past has never happened and that we could just be free. And why do we have hangups or feel uncomfortable at this point? Like, gosh, why is it now that I love you and I want to be with you? Like, I just want to give you pleasure. Why can't that happen? Well, the impact of these kinds of things, either from specific instances, things that have happened to us, or just the societal impact of sexual shame that most of us live in, maybe even all of us live in, that's had a cumulative impact on us. So when you know that, and when you're there listening to us, realizing the impact, it's going to help you do the third thing, which is to slow down, take your time. Take your time with us in lovemaking, but also just in allowing us to let go over time, the things that have happened, kind of let the layers fall off. This isn't something where you go in and surgically remove a trauma from your partner's body by somehow being a great and present lover. That's just not going to happen immediately. But I have the good news, and that is that when you show up day after day with your presence, your love, your noticing, your partner will gradually increase safety in their nervous system in all the ways: sexual nervous system, energetic nervous system, physical nervous system, emotional nervous system. They will eventually start to let go of some of these things from the past, particularly if you do the fourth thing, which is to help your partner focus on sensation in their body, so that instead of going into our heads, that we're feeling and being present to the sensations in this moment. Because the thing that happens with trauma is trauma takes us into the past. So we are living as if that thing is going on right now. Physically, it feels like in our body that this is still happening. It's not happening. What's happening right now is that I'm, for example, touching my hand right here. I'm sitting here, I'm breathing, I'm in this house, I'm safe. So when I'm connected to my sensations, my senses here in this moment, I'm not going off somewhere in a traumatic response. So your opportunity is to help your partner stay connected to their body, stay connected to the five senses of sight and smell and sound and hearing. Did I get one? And touch, taste, touch, hearing, sound, and sensation. And when they're able to do that, they're going to be more embodied. They'll be present with you, and then your compassion and your kindness and your willingness to take it slow will help them tremendously going forward. So that's what I recommend for you, is to look at it in those ways, with compassion, not centering yourself, taking it slow, focusing on the five senses, just being present. That will help you tremendously. Talk with you next week. Bye-bye.